Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, and this is the Eve Universe show. And boy, I'm glad that the dev blog came out this Friday, and everybody's so happy about it because that way we can talk about how great things are now, and that can be the main topic of the day, right? Because that's what happened. All right, so before we jump into this, a little bit of an aside. I went to go make coffee in my pre-show. And this is so dark. Hold on. My camera's all weird right now. Hold on. Oh. I'm going to do some little behind the scenes-ing live. Oh, I know what happened. Give me a second. One moment. So today I want to talk about a few things. I do want to go over the changes. Maybe we can work things out. Maybe I can get my, understanding together, and but I definitely want to talk about what's going on and our reaction to it. I went to go make some coffee during the break, or during the pre-show, and discovered that the only pods for coffee making I have are decaf, and then I found a more appropriate drink for this conversation. So we're gonna work our way through this together. All right, so, all right. Before we even go into the changes, I want to talk about something, because I have made probably a lot of enemies this weekend, and so I want to talk a little bit about the reaction and why I feel that we should really stop using rioting in Jita as our protest for everything. So before I explain that final piece, I want to put us into some framework, just in case people don't know. Why do we riot in Jita? And more importantly, why is this statue that we can see over here, or there, broken? Well, that statue comes from the before times, the long ago, over 10 years ago. There was some early contest. Somebody won it. They got the statue. But the point is that the statue is a large collidable object, which means that it can be targeted, but it can't be destroyed. So in 2011, there was what was known as the Summer of Rage, right? In which CCP released Incarna, and that was the walking in station stuff. And it was the kind of the height of, oh, hold on. I want you to make sure that you guys can hear the protest, Oh, no, you can. Okay, good. So basically, CCP had put a lot of effort into this new idea of ambulation, walking in stations, whatever you want to call it, and had put off a lot of stuff that the player base had asked for, and with a we know better kind of attitude. And then when Incarna came out, it was bad enough. That was also the introduction of the cash shop, which had the $60 monocle, which was also bad. But what triggered the protest was the magazine. Okay, there was a magazine, an internal newsletter, basically, within the CCP company called Fearless, and on the front of the cover was Scarface with his drug empire stuff, and the title of the issue was "Greed is Good?" ? And there was a section for each of their IPs, which at that point there were 3 of them. There was EVE Online, Dust 514, and World of Darkness. And the idea was that it was a discussion about how microtransactions can be put into these various different franchises or IPs. So Dust and World of Darkness had not come out yet. And so their articles were kind of more about how it could be baked into it from the very beginning. The Eve article is the one that got people going, because there was a pro and a con argument made in that one. The con was saying that, microtransactions should not be added in. The pro argued that they could first introduce cosmetic items and then move on to things like gold ammo. This is where the phrase gold ammo, when it comes to the Eve community, really comes from. And the concept was some sort of benefit that you would have to pay for to get. And so the point here is that this was not saying that this was the direction that they wanted to go. The point of this newsletter was to start discussion within their company. But the problem with this this magazine coming out right at this time, or at least, sorry, being leaked, whatever, exposed to the public at the same time as all of these other things going on, was that the guy who argued in favor, the guy who argued against microtransactions was relatively minor within the company compared to CCP Soundwave, lead creative designer of EVE Online, who was the guy who argued in favor of microtransactions. So while it was designed to be, contrasting viewpoints, from the public, it really did look like it was a strong weight on the scales towards the introduction of microtransactions. Gold ammo, right? And so this is what boils down. This is why the protest happened the way it happened, right? And this is the thing about, like, say what you will about protests in real life or whatever. I'm going to go forward with the assumption that a protest is most effective if its message is clear and is symbolized through their action, right? In other words, if you can understand a clear sentence, a statement for that protest, that protest has a much higher chance of being successful, of getting its point across. I think that should be a pretty simple thing to agree with. Okay, here was the message. The message was, we would rather waste our time and ammo shooting at that shitty statue that we can't destroy than play your game if you put gold ammo in. The issue was about ammo, and so they were wasting ammo. That was the point. It wasn't just we're wasting our time. It wasn't just we want to show how many of us there are. It was a clear message about ammo. And in my opinion, this is why every invocation of the Jita riots since that time have failed, because they fundamentally don't understand why the Jita riots happened the way it did. The best example I can remember was actually the previous time that they tried to do it a few months ago, where the guy in his post literally says that he's handing out coercers. And I'm like, if you're using crystals, you have missed the point entirely. So, in conclusion, I guess, hopefully, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong to be angry. Actually, no, not even in conclusion, but in conclusion of this section. You're not wrong to be upset. Well, some of you are not wrong to be upset. I'm just saying that, like, in my opinion, the Jita riots, and more importantly, the invocation of the Jita riots every single time that somebody's upset about something, has become so common that it's a meme. And so I'm not saying that you're wrong, like that you shouldn't do it. What I'm saying is that the very act of having this be your form of protest makes people take you less seriously. And I want people to take you more seriously. A better example, here's a good example. CCP of when Goonswarm did this a better way. Back in the day, CCP was mulling about removing ice from HiSec. And so the Goonswarm performed the ice interdiction and blew up anybody who attempted to do ice mining in HiSec. Guess what? The issue of removing ice from HiSec was totally fucking dropped, right? Because they demonstrated why this would be such a bad thing. That's an effective protest. That's an effective demonstration of your point. The only thing you're demonstrating right now is that Goonswarm has a lot of people. And we knew that. Anywho, let's talk about the actual changes themselves. Oh, there's another piece to this, which is that the other reason why the Jita I want to make sure that this point gets pointed out like clearly. Otherwise, people will argue that I skipped over it or whatever. But it is also true that as many people were protesting in Jita, they also unsubbed at that time. Over 4,000 people unsubbed in that week. And that was the biggest, that is a big, big, big reason why they had to take it seriously. It wasn't just because the protest was hyper effective or anything like that. So I don't know, man. The way, like, yeah, I think I've made my point.